Let's jump to the demonstration. I will exit the presentation and we'll go to the zip color console. This is the console from which you will configure everything. The campaigns, you will see the reports and everything. We will see all in detail. So the first thing you need to do in order to create a campaign, we will be creating today three different campaigns. One for automatic interactions, for example, for payment reminders. We will see how easy it is to do that. We will create a campaign in predictive dialer mode and another campaign in progressive dialer mode. Okay, so we will be using zipcaller and we will be using 3CX as the phone system. Zipcaller can also work with other phone systems, like any asterisk based system can be supported, like FreePBX, Diastar, and well, any other Isabel, any other asterisk flavor is supported. So the first thing we need to do in order to make this automatic interaction with the customer, to, for example, for a payment reminder, is creating a call flow. A call flow defines how zipcaller will interact with the customer when the call is answered. So we will create from a template. This is the simplest way to create a call flow. We will use the play prompt call flow. And we will name this payment reminder. Okay, so we click next, and here we will use a text prompt to provide personalized information about the upcoming payment that needs to be done. So we will be typing here the text that we want to play to the user. Hello, customer name. Here, as you can see, we are using a variable. A variable will be replaced later by a value associated to each number. When we upload numbers to call, each number will have associated variables. For example, the customer name is this, the amount is this, the due date is this. Okay, so we will provide values for every record, and in this case, in brackets, we specify the variable name, and that will be replaced by a value and play back to the user. So hello, customer name, we are calling from Acme Financial Services to let you know that you have an upcoming payment of, and we can specify another variable, balance. Okay, so here we are, when we play the prompt, we will be playing the actual amount that is related to that particular call. So we can define all the details as we need. Please make the payment at your earliest convenience. Okay, so if you, instead of playing a text prompt, if you want to upload a WAV file, a pre-recorded WAV file, you can just click WAV prompt here, upload the file, and select the file, and that's all you need to do. You click finish in this case, and we have our payment reminder call flow ready to be used. So we go to campaigns, we click create, and payment reminder campaign. We select the phone system that we want to use and the extension. We will be using Power Dialer for the mode because we don't have agents involved here. We only want to make calls as fast as possible, so we will be using Power Dialer. In working times, we can define the operation times, in which time frames we will be calling. For example, here from Monday to Friday, from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can define this as you want. You can define holidays. You can define when the campaign should start, when it should end. Well, all that is something that you can configure from here. And the important thing here is that we will be selecting the human answer call flow here. Payment reminder, this is the call flow that we just created. And we can specify the language for text to speech, for example, English US. And once we see the language, we can select the voice, and you can see all the voices that you have for text to speech. You have plenty of voices. You have different intonations for the English language. It's not that it must be US language. You can select, for example, Canada, Australia, whatever your public is more used to. And these voices that you select from here can also be played from the SIP color console, so you know in advance how the voice will be felt. Okay. Okay, so we click save here and we click add numbers. We will upload a CSV file. A CSV file will contain the numbers that we will be calling. In this case, I uploaded it from here. And as you can see, the CSV file contains columns with the first column is the number to call, the second column is the customer name, the third column is the balance, and so on. So you can define up to 20 different columns with variables, and this information can be used to play personalized messages to the customers. So we click add numbers, and as simple as that, we have our campaign created. We click activate campaign, and our campaign is running. If we go to the dashboard now, in the dashboard, we will see information in real time about how our campaign is progressing. It can take up to 30 seconds to start making calls once the campaign is activated. So this is why it didn't start yet. But in a moment, we will see the calls being made here. And well, you can see a lot of information about how the campaign is progressing. For example, here, well, you can see that the 2,000 numbers that we added to the campaign have not been contacted yet. In a moment, when we start making the calls, we will see the other categories covering the pie chart. Here in Ring results, we can see, well, here we start seeing some busy calls. We can see the answer type, if the call is answered by an answering machine or answered by a human. Well, all these statistics are being updated in real time. And we also have reports that we can check. We will leave the reports for later, so we let the campaign running for a while, and we will have more time to collect statistics. But as you can see here, the reports start, the charts start moving and showing information as the campaign starts progressing. We can also see, for example, here in the active calls, which numbers are being called at a particular time. Now we have 6 active calls to these numbers. Well, the reporting is very, very complete. We will see it in a moment. But let's move to, while this campaign, this Power Dialer campaign, is running and providing information to our customers about upcoming payments, let's create another campaign for debt collection, for example. So we will go to call flows, and we will create from a template, and we will use the transfer call flow, the transfer call template. What we want to do is making a call first, and as soon as the call is answered, we will transfer the call to a queue, so the first available agent will take that call. So transfer, this is a name, so we can identify the call flow later. Transfer to queue 801, for example. Next, for the destination, I specify the extension number of the queue, 801. Display text. This is information that we will be showing to the agent when the agent receives the call. I am unable to see or hear at the moment. Can you confirm if you can hear me? I don't know if this is a problem of one person or in general. Can you write in the chat? Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, good. Okay, so in the display text, we will specify a variable here with the customer name. This way, when we transfer the call to the agent will be able to see who is calling. The customer name will be specified will be set in the display of the phone. And in the display URL, we can specify a URL like this one. This could point to the CRM, for example, but this URL helps us to show information about the customer. You can see that this is a URL containing some variables like the customer name or the balance or a contact URL. Okay, so this information will also be shown to the agent when the agent answers the call. We will automatically pop up this URL in a new browser tab, and this way the agent will be able to see all these details. We will see it in a moment. So we have our call flow ready. We will create a campaign. In this case, it will be a predictive dialer campaign, for example, debt collection campaign. We will specify predictive dialer for the dialer mode. And in predictive dialer, the difference is that instead of making calls without paying attention to anything, we will make calls paying attention to the status of a queue. Which queue? The queue that we will be using here in the answering machine call flow. We say transfer to queue 801. So that's the queue 801 is the queue that we will be monitoring. We will be checking if the queue 801 has available agents, and SIP-caller will only make calls when you have agents available. This way, we will be contacting the customers, but only when your agents are available. As soon as your agents get busy, SIP-caller will automatically stop. And this is the start and the stop of the campaign is automatically handled by SIP-caller depending on how many agents you have available and how many agents you have free. SIP-caller in predictive dialer mode will learn from previous calls in the same campaign, so it will learn which is the answer rate. So for example, from 100 calls made, how many of them get really connected to the agent, and depending on that, we will know how many calls we need to make when one agent or two agents are available. Okay, so we will automatically adjust the calling pace based on that. And this works very, very well to maximize the agent's performance, but at the same time, not generating calls when you don't have agents available to take them. Okay, so we balance that in a very good way. So we will upload a CSV here. We will use the same list of numbers. Okay, and we will add the numbers here. And as you can see here, we have the same variables, the customer name, the balance, and that information will be used when we send the call to the agent. I will activate here the campaign. The campaign is running. Now here we have two campaigns running. As you can see, this is the previous one, the power dialer campaign, and this one is the one that didn't start yet. In a moment it will start, and I will have my phone here. This is is the 3CX client, okay? And as soon as SIP caller connects the call to an agent, SIP caller will send the call to the queue, and this is an extension locked in that queue. So we will get that call. When we get the call here in the 3CX phone, we will see the customer name, the name of the person that we are calling. And as soon as we answer the call, we will have the pop-up open in a new tab with all the details of the contact. So we know the details of why we are calling with this particular person, okay? Okay, SIP caller can take up to 30 seconds to start. So in a moment, it will start making calls. There we are. We can see Timothy Mills here as the name, and we will answer. And as soon as we answer the call, we can see this pop up showing information, the name of the customer, the due balance that we are trying to collect, and maybe a link to the customer record in the CRM, so we can click here and quickly go to the customer record and take notes or whatever we need to do with that particular call. Okay, so as soon as the call ends here, SIP caller will start making another one. As you can see here, it's already making another call, and it will send the call in a moment. At the very, very beginning of the campaign, for the first 10 calls, it will go slowly, trying to learn the transfer rate, trying to learn how many calls it needs to make in order to connect calls to agents. This is why calls are a bit separated now. But as soon as we reach the point in which we are making more than 10 calls, SIP caller starts going faster and connects calls when your agents are becoming available. So the idle time between calls is drastically reduced. So here we see Catherine Calderon, the name. We answer the call and we see the customer name, the balance again, and the customer URL in the CRM. Okay, so as you can see, we will pause this campaign so we don't have more calls for the received in the agent. But as you can see, SIP caller can monitor the status of the queue, monitor which agents are available on, and it will only make calls when the agents become available. The third dialer mode that I wanted to show is the progressive dialer mode. The progressive dialer, in this case, the debt collection progressive. We will set that name, and in this case, we will select progressive dialer. We will select the phone system and extension, and in this case, we need to choose the queue from here. So we will select 801, and we can specify, for example, if the agent needs to confirm that it's ready to make the call, we can enable this and specify a message, for example, press 1 to make call. And we can also play a prompt to the agent before initiating the call to the external customer. So we can specify the message calling, for example. So in this case, what will happen is the following. SIP caller will call the agent. The agent will hear the message, press 1 to make call. When the agent presses 1, SIP caller will play the prompt calling, and then it will initiate the call to the external customer. This press 1 to make call is important. For example, if we call the agent and the agent doesn't pick up, the call goes to voicemail. It's important that we do not initiate the call to the external customer while the call is connected to the agent's voicemail, because the customer will hear the agent voicemail prompt. So anyway, this is optional. You can turn this off if you want. But if you prefer to be sure that the agent is ready to take the call, you can enable this feature. As always, you can define working times, and in the behavior you can define the language that you will be using for text to speech. In this case, let's select this, save, and we will be adding numbers again to the campaign. We will be using the same CSV file. We will add numbers and we activate the campaign. So as soon as we, contact ID. This is because I'm using a variable that is not provided. This contact ID is not provided in my customers. Let me see which is the variable name. It's customer ID. It's customer ID. Okay, so let me change that. So instead of contact ID, I will specify customer ID, and now I will be able to activate the campaign. Okay, now it's running. We have 3 campaigns running. You can have multiple campaigns running at the same time, and you will be able to see statistics in real time for all the campaigns that are running. Well, in this case, this is paused. The predictive dialer is paused. Let me open here the 3CX client. Okay, so in a few seconds, we will receive the call here. The call will be received from SipCaller. This is the agent's phone, and the agent will need to press 1 to accept the call, and then the call will be initiated to the external customer. So we are getting the call from SipCaller. We answer the call. Now we need to press 1, and now we are calling, and we see the customer details here. Okay. Okay, so the call is already connected, and we are speaking with Timothy Mills, and these are the details. I will hang up the call, and as soon as I hang up, in a few seconds, we will receive the next call for this agent. We can configure a pause between calls. This is configured in the queue. I will show it in a moment. Here, I think that we have a pause. Yeah. So I answer the call. I press 1 to accept the call. It's calling David Miller, and we have the pop-up here. Okay. So let me pause this campaign so we don't receive more calls. Here, give me 1 second. I will show you. This is the configuration of the queue, and we have in the advanced tab, we have 2 seconds wrap up time. So between calls, we will be waiting 2 seconds. Okay, so we make a call, the call ends, and 2 seconds after that, we receive the next call. Okay, so these are 3 different approaches that you can use to contact your customers. Let's recap on this. Payment reminders, we are making calls without agents, so we are going full blast, making calls, don't paying attention to any status of any queue. We are making calls as fast as possible and providing the messages to our customers as fast as we can. And then we have predictive dialer campaign. This is the second campaign that we created. The predictive dialer campaign calls the customer first, discards voicemails, discards not answer calls, discards busy calls, destinations that are the number invalid. Well, any wrong call, any call with an error is automatically discarded by SIP-caller, and the agent only receives calls connected to customers, to humans, to people. Okay, so the performance of the agents is dramatically increased by spending their time exclusively or almost exclusively speaking with customers. And the third case that we saw just a moment ago is progressive dialer. We receive the call from SIP caller, and as soon as we accept the call is initiated to the external customer, and we speak with the customer, and the customer can um, the agent will listen to the customer saying hello. So the agent is in the line from the very beginning, maximizing the customer's experience. So let's go to reports and see a little bit of the reports that we have for the campaigns. So let's start by call details. We have three different reports here. Call details lets you see call by call what happened. These are all the calls made by SIP caller and what happened with them. We can see the number call, when the call was made, the result, if it was busy, if it was not answered, if it was answered, if the answer was a machine or a human. Well, we see all this information. We also have more details here. These are columns that are hidden by default, but you can show, for example, the customer name, well, I don't know, the outcome, the setup duration, connected duration. Well, you can specify all the columns that you want to show or the columns that you don't want to show. The report is totally customizable, and you can also filter the numbers. For example, you can filter the result to answer calls. So you only see answer calls. You can see, okay, I want to see the answer type, human answer, and then you only see calls that had been answered by a human. Well, you have all the flexibility to search the information that you want here, and this is something that you can export to a CSV file, get the CSV file, and take the information somewhere else if needed. Then we have the number details report. The number details will give you for every number the status of that particular number. So for example, this number was called once and the status is retry pending. You can here also show other variables, other columns, and this means that when we call this customer, the call couldn't be connected. We can go to the call details and see why. We can remove those filters and add a filter by number and paste this number, and we can see that it was connected to an answering machine. That's why it wasn't successful. And the call will be retried, for example, 1 hour later. You can define when you want to retry calls. So the call details will give you call by call, and the number details will give you for every number that you uploaded to your campaign, what's the status of that number. Okay, and then we have campaign analysis, which will show you how the campaign is progressing over time. Let me show you this for another campaign running some time ago, because this could be the charts. As the campaign was running for more time, the charts are more insightful. For example, here we can see campaign progress. You can see hour by hour how the campaign is progressing and how we are reaching the end. In green, the contacts that have been already made. In gray, the contacts that are still pending. We have here more granularity in that chart, so we can also see retry pendings, failures, blacklisted numbers, well, you have different categories here. In the call flow diagram, you can see in these charts, in these bars, how many from these 3,600 calls, how many of them were answered, there, how many busy, how many not answered, and how many result in an error. From the answer calls, you can see how these are split in human answer and answering machine. Well, this is a very interesting to see in a visual way, in a very quick way. If there is an error, for example, you can see that the call error bar will be bigger. Okay, so you can quickly spot any issue in your campaign by checking these reports that will give you these red bars big when there is an issue, right? Well, you can see the distribution of answer calls, busy call, not answer, etc. Distribution between human answer and answer machine. Well, all this information can be shown visually and already analyzed. And in case you need to get the details, the numbers behind these charts, you can go to show details and check the numbers here. Okay, you can see which are the numbers for behind the chart. You can switch back to the chart whenever you need. And these charts are totally interactive, meaning that, for example, if you have a campaign running for 3 days, you can group by day. You will have one bar for each day, day 1, day 2, day 3. And if you click one date, you will get into that date and expand the 24 hours and see what happened every hour inside that date. So these are reports in which you can interact with the platform and narrow down your search, go in, go out, navigate the reports as you need. In case you are collecting some kind of input from the user, for example, well, here you have the input results. The typical use case for this is a survey, that you are making a survey and you are asking questions. For example, here you have first question and second question, and you can see how your customers are answering these questions. Okay, so you see the distribution of the responses from the users to each particular question. Okay, okay, so this is the most important thing that you should be aware of in regards to reporting. Okay, okay, let's conclude with this. This is a very brief demonstration of SipColor. As you can see, creating a campaign is very simple. You can have your campaigns running in a matter of minutes, and you can collect feedback and see the results from the same platform in a very easy way. Let's